Hey, what's up you guys? Hey, thanks for coming to this video. I think you're gonna like it a lot. In this video, I'm gonna tell you how I made $1.2 million during my surgery residency. First, I'm gonna tell you a little story. I did general surgery, 5-year general surgery, and then a year of research. And the research I did was for NASA and Henry Ford Hospital. It was about ultrasound for space trauma. During that time, you know, your schedule is much better than, or let's say easier, than when you're actually in residency. So I had obviously a job to do with the research, but I also had a lot of free time. I had always been thinking that I wanted to make my own business, like since a long time ago. And I wanted to be a doctor, and that takes obviously a lot more time and effort and commitment, but I definitely wanted to have a separate business as a separate income, like multiple streams of income. Lots of people talk about that all the time. I took the opportunity during my research year to start researching also what kind of business I could get into. And at the time, this was 2007, web businesses were not that hot yet as they are now, but they were starting to get a lot of traction, and a lot of people were starting to buy things on the web. There was a lot of infomercials. People were still calling that stuff, calling on the infomercials and buying products, but they were starting to really buy on the web. What ended up happening is I bought an infomercial myself, and I don't know if you guys remember, there was a workout video called Power 90, and it's Tony Horton, and he later made P90X, which was super popular. So I bought that like when I was a medical student in like 2002 or 1 or something, and I lost like 40 pounds doing that. So I really liked that product, and so I emailed, and I had before and after pictures, and I emailed that company and I said, hey, can I be an affiliate for you guys? And basically an affiliate is like you sell their product and they give you a commission, like 10%, 25%, whatever it is, you negotiate. It actually was kind of interesting. So they were switching over their model from infomercial, mainly infomercial or only infomercial, to a multi-level marketing or network marketing. So I wasn't so hot on that idea, but I basically said, can I just build a website and sell your product and not do like the recruiting thing, you know, like everybody sells for me, whatever. And they said yes. So, and actually I ended up getting invited to Beverly Hills, and they put me up at like the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and I met Tony Horton and Sean T and all these like fitness guru guys, which was really cool. So there was 35 people that started this in the network marketing portion, and all the other people were there because they were like network marketing people, and I like didn't want anything to do with that, and I just like raised my hand and said, can I build a website and sell your stuff? And they're like, yeah. So I went back and I started, you know, researching how to build a website. And I know you're thinking like, well, you know, like, what are you doing? You're a surgery resident, and all of a sudden you're researching how to build a website. Like, why would you do that? Because we're surgery residents, we can fucking do anything. That's why. And I was like, I just crushed surgery residency. I fucked up the ab site. I'm gonna fuck this up too. So that's what I did, and I just decided to go balls deep in that. I said, fuck it, I'm just gonna go all out and I'm gonna make this thing work. So I actually ended up spending about 15 grand on put it on my credit cards to build the website. I had to have somebody help me eventually, commission them to build like the back end and all this stuff. And it was a Yahoo website at the time. It was a Yahoo e-commerce website. It was terrible. It hardly worked. Like, it's super simple now. You could build WordPress websites like way easy. So I ended up spending from December 2006 to April in 2007, and I launched actually on April 1st, 2007, and it was called superfit.com. I put all their products on there because basically P90X was like a super popular product at that time. They were crushing, they were spending millions of dollars on advertising and infomercials. And so what I did was I used Google search engine optimization kind of techniques, and I got my website on the first page of Google. So like when you typed in P90X, so basically what happened was people were watching the infomercial like 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever. They would go, because it was starting to get popular, to buy stuff on the internet. People were like, you know, fascinated that you didn't have to talk to a human, you could just go buy it. So they type in P90X. My website was like second behind the main company. They would click on P90X. They already were sold on it because of the infomercial, and they'd buy it. So the first month I did like $30,000 or $35,000 in sales. The company actually called me and was like, what the fuck are you doing, you know? And I just said, hey, I built this website, I'm just promoting it, whatever, and they didn't really understand. That was not their deal, and they didn't really understand all that stuff. And so a few months later, they came back and were like, oh, well, you're doing search engine optimization, and you're doing ads and buying ads. You can't do all that stuff. So I ended up not being able to do the advertising, like purchasing advertising, but by that time I did a lot of search engine optimization. I wrote a lot of articles about P90X because I have a different perspective, and it's all about perspective, by the way. I'll talk about that later, but it's all about perspective and your perspective on a certain thing, right? So I gave my perspective. I wrote a bunch of articles. I sent them out on the web. At that time, the backlinking was a big deal, so I made a bunch of backlinking, and I'll explain all this stuff in other videos if you don't know. I crushed it. So I was number 2 for P90X for quite some time, and my sales just kept getting larger and larger each month. And I remember December 2007, I had to order the product from Beachbody, which is the main company, and then it would come to my house, and I had P90X stacked up all over my living room, and I had to then relabel them, send them, go to the post office, and I had a friend help me with all this stuff because at this time I was like back in surgery residency. I had no fucking time. I had a friend help me reship them, so I was paying for shipping twice, and I was still making money on it. So I decided I couldn't do that if it was like I couldn't get people their P90X for Christmas if it was past like the 16th of December. So I cut off all my sales. Well, I just said I can't, get it to you after the 16th of December for Christmas. So on the 16th of December, I looked and I had $76,000 of P90X I sold. It scaled from there, and basically what it ended up happening is I tried to do too much myself. I was in surgery residency. I ended up not being able to keep up with the company and the trends and all that stuff, because once you have something successful, it just doesn't coast. You always have to keep a lot of attention on it. That was a really good lesson for me. So ended up basically not paying enough attention to the website and dropped off the first page of Google. Once you do that, like, you're dead. I kind of just left it there. The website is still up actually, but I really don't do anything with it. I don't make any sales. I guess my point of the whole story is that we are not one-dimensional, and because you're in surgery residency, or you're a surgeon, or you're a doctor, or PA, or NP, or whatever, doesn't mean that you only have to do one thing. I will tell you that it takes a big ramp-up time and a lot of focused effort to start something like that. But then I do know that after you get that going and become successful, you can hire other people to help you do that. And that's how people have multiple restaurants. Example is Donald Trump. He has multiple hotels. He does not clean every hotel room, right? He's got a lot of people working for him. Once you have you have a good idea and you implement it and you become successful at one small thing, then you can ramp it up. I think a lot of people think that they can't do anything else, but that's not true. We can do multiple things. Now, surgery and stuff takes a lot of time and effort, and there's a big ramp up to that as well. And you have to pay attention to that. You can't just let it go. At first, you do a shitload of work, and after a while, like, that stuff becomes routine, and you don't have to do as much. You don't have to put as much work in. You think of it like a rocket, right? To get a rocket from the ground, from the Earth to space, there's a ton of energy you have to put in. But once it gets to space, it coasts. So that's kind of like similar to when you're starting a business. If you can get, some people to help you, and you don't have to put quite as much energy into it. Now it's 2017, it's not exactly 2007. You can't usually use that same thing, although you might be able to do that depending on the product. What I'm seeing now, which is really cool, is a lot of medical students and a lot of residents, and some of you guys maybe even watching this, are like influencers on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, or whatever, and you have a lot of followers. You're your own product. And so you should be able to definitely supplement your income while you're in residency or med school with being an influencer. And what's awesome about that is you can be Instagram influencer as a medical student, and all you're doing is using your experience. Like, that's what I'm talking about is experience. It's all from your perspective. It doesn't matter that there's a million medical students out there, right? I'm a general surgeon. There's a ton of general surgeons out there, but this is my perspective. Every perspective is unique. And so that's your product. That is the value that you have, that you are unique and your perspective on medical school is unique. And so if you already have a bunch of followers, or if you want followers, that's what you need to do, is use your own unique perspective. And then once you get, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 followers, some of you guys have, I don't have that, but you guys do, which is cool. Then you can start going out to companies and saying, hey, I have a lot of people watching me. Can you supplement my med school costs or whatever it is? And if you, want help with the wording on those things and who to reach out to and stuff like that, you can email me. I'll put my email in the comments below, or the space below, so you can get in touch with me if you want. And I've got a lot of templates and stuff like that you can use. I hope you enjoyed that little story there. I do this not to brag or anything, but I'm just doing it to inspire you guys and give you a different perspective on medical school, residency, being a surgeon, being a doctor, all that stuff. And so I hope you enjoy that, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.